And we're live here on YouTube. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And say hi to my buddy Rich. Rich, hope you're doing well. Rich isn't here today because he is, he and his wife are taking a day off to go enjoy time with family. Amy had a aunt who turned 100 years old. What a celebration. That is super exciting for them. Hope they had a good time, and congratulations to 100 years on this earth. So, with that, you're at me today. We're going to talk NASCAR, and we're also going to go through baseball, NFL, and wait, do I have any NFL stuff? Not this week. Next week, I'll have some NFL stuff. This week, no NFL stuff. But I'll talk esports and give you a Masked Singer update. So with all of that, let's go ahead and roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so, folks, welcome back. Before we do any of the sports stuff, we got to talk about our poll question this week. The poll question this week was... we're doing our seasonal activity. What do you like to do for fun? With that, you got this week's options were jogging and or hiking. Jogging or hiking. You'd think I could have had this up and ready and prepped and all that stuff, but I didn't because, you know. Boom. I personally voted for hiking. Jogging, to me, I don't like... I walk on a treadmill. I don't jog. So I'm just going to hike. I get to go out and see more of nature. Get to enjoy the finer things. So Rich picked jogging. And me, Jordan Stroop, Pam Hendricks, Sue Hart, and Gail Welshman all picked hiking. So hiking wins. Goes on to face another thing. This week we have climbing a tree versus dancing in the rain. Don't forget to post this poll question. I think that's me. I gotta post the poll question, so I'll try to get that done. Hopefully, just after I get the show, get going with the show, or get done with the show. So yeah. With that, do you see what's coming up next? Might be a left turn, and after that, another left turn. Why is that? Because we're heading into the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Well, last week we saw the Goodyear 400 in Darlington. Great race, but not if your name was Kyle Larson. Within the first 4 laps, Kyle Larson decided to wreck himself out. He didn't decide to, but he mishandled the car, wrecked out. They got the car back in. So Kyle Larson, I don't know if this is, I'll have to look into it. He caused the first and the last yellow flag of the race. That wasn't the same incident. That might be a first. Yeah. Boo. Ended up getting 38th. Pretty bad. The winner was Denny Hamlin. Bubba Wallace finished 21st. So didn't do that great. But still, Kyle Larson couldn't pull off to not just wreck out and poop the bed. So that sucks for him. Rich is now up 5-3. Now, here's a funny thing. Last week when we started, I said I'm going to pick Denny Hamlin. I totally picked Denny Hamlin. And then I was like, nah, he's not going to go back-to-back. Man goes back-to-back. And Kyle Larson poops the bed. That was ridiculous. Like, how do you do that like that? I have no answers for that. So, this week, Food City 500. Rich gave me his pick. It's at Bristol. Man, I love Bristol. Bristol's going to be, Rich picked Chase Elliott. I'm picking Alex Bowman. Yeah, so we will have a NASCAR corner for Easter weekend next weekend, but we will not have a race because Easter takes a red flag. We'll recap how they did this week. Okay, with that, I'm going to pick Kyle Bowman. With that, let's give you a fantasy NASCAR update, as we should tell you how we're doing. So, okay, overall standings, I am in first place with 1432. Rich is in second place with 1411. The new Dubo is in third place with 1288. Yeah, good race this week. Last week, I still won the week last week by a significant portion. Like, did great. I took Kyle Larson out. Obviously, I used my my garage driver for it, which saved my bacon. Made it so I got 243 points. Rich got 173, and Solomon only got 164. Shout out to Solomon for joining the league, and shout out for Rich for being there. So, like I said, no races next weekend, but man, so I'm going to tell you, the NASCAR has a racket going on. I don't know how they're going to pull this off. I don't understand how it works, but I look at, so when you're on the NASCAR app, you can do what's called checking in anytime there's a race. So whether it's a truck race, a NASCAR, Xfinity, Nationwide, whatever they're calling it nowadays, I don't remember, race, or a Cup Series race, you get to check in. If you play fantasy, you check in, that counts. All these things. Playing, they have that second game. If you play that every week, you get points. By the end of 1 year, you can get one free ticket to go to the race. I don't understand how this is going to work for NASCAR, but I'm going to try to do it every week and use those points to get to a race next year. I'm going to go see my older brother in Vegas. So, okay. With that, this has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, this is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. This last week, we're gonna keep making lefts as we leave the asphalt and head to the dirt. Making lefts around the ball diamond as we look at the Cubs. The Cubs split the two with the Padres and won 2 out of 3 versus the Rangers. That means they went 3-2 on the week. I said 3, so I was right. Rich said 4. Week of the 12. By the way, the Cubs are looking great. The fact that they're splitting the Padres, the fact that they they held their own against the Diamondbacks. They won 2 consecutive series at least, and they are doing well. They have the hardest April schedule of anybody in baseball. Look it up. Their schedule is the Dodgers, the Padres, the Diamondbacks. The Rangers are a goodish team. They're a good team. But yeah, the teams that they play in April is considered the hardest lineup, or the hardest set of games to play with of anybody in April. Hardest. In fact, we're currently in the middle of a game/series, we had 3 against LA. I didn't record last night. We're recording today. We didn't count last night's, so for either today's as it's going on, I don't know the outcome. I haven't looked, but I picked so it doesn't matter. Rich and I put this down before I went live. I said 4. We have 2 against LA, 3 against the Padres, and then we go back with the Diamondbacks at home. The Diamondbacks come to us, which we're going to play a 3-game series, a 3 or 4-game series with them. That's going to be tough. It's going to be terrible. Diamondbacks and Padres generally play better at home, or the Dodgers and the Padres generally play better at home. Rich points out that he is glad to see that we're done with them early in the season. I can't agree more. I mean, maybe by some fluke of the imagination, they get injured mid-season and their mid-season is terrible, or their start of the season or the end of the season is terrible. They limp their way into the playoffs. I don't know. Either way, neither one of these teams are teams that I want to play regularly, and playing them early. If we come out of April with 500, I'm happy. If we come out of April ahead of 500, we're in good shape. If we come out of April the lead in the division, there's no chance for the rest of the division, as our May is the easiest May. June, July are relatively easy compared to April. Now, injuries happen. We're looking at Justin Steele might be injured worse than what we originally thought. He is on the IL right now. We don't know what's going on with him. We don't know exactly what that elbow injury is that he's going through. We need to see what is going on with that. But the rest of our pitching staff is looking okay-ish. They're looking good enough. Our bats have been on fire. I think this could be a good year for the Cubs. The problem is we start the season with the Dodgers and the Padres and the Diamondbacks, and if we make the playoffs, the teams we will likely face in the playoffs will be the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Padres. It's going to be a tough year. We may get through the season looking great, but hit the playoffs in a way we come against brick walls. But 2 years ago, last year, would you have said that you thought the Cubs were going to be the number 1 team in the Central Division? Might have been hard. We looked at a team like Milwaukee. Milwaukee is all of a sudden fell off a cliff. They looked like a team that should have been the top, and they've fallen greatly and greatly. Part of it is that we poached their coach, but part of it is just talent has aged. Either way, the Cubs are looking good this year. It's great to see. It's great to see us just holding on right now to what's going on, to anything, and being above 500. By the way, we are 2 games above 500. 2 games above 500. The Brewers are 1 game above 500. The Reds are 1 game behind 500. 2 games behind 500 are the Cardinals, and 5 games below 500 are the Padres. Wow. Or the Pirates. Sorry, the Pirates. The Padres are an 800 team. The Dodgers are 730. By the way, how is it that the Dodgers, being one of the greatest teams we've seen in baseball history, their likelihood to the West is just stacked and ridiculous. You got the Padres right now are 9 games over 500 already. The Dodgers are a game back at 8 games over 500. Or 7 games over 500, sorry. It's 7 games over 500. 6 games over 500 are the Giants. The Diamondbacks are above 500. 4 of the 5 teams, the Rockies are the odd man out. And yet, that division, and then the Mets and the Phillies are looking great. We will likely only see, I don't know, I don't remember how I predicted it, but we are likely to only see one team out of the Central find their way into the playoffs. Right now, I expect it to be the Cubs, not just as a fan, but when you look at the numbers, when you look at what they're doing, wow, they're looking great. The Brewers are half game back. The Reds are a game and a half back. 2 games back are the Cardinals. How about this? The Diamondbacks have the same wins-loss as the Brewers, and they are already 4 games back. This early in the season, they are already 4 games back, and they have a winning. They're above 500. They're a 533 team, and they still are 4 games back. Can you imagine that? How would it feel to be 4 games back and still be above 500? That would suck. We look over at the American League, however, and nobody's hit 10 games. By the way, 3 teams in the West have already have 10 plus wins on the year. We've faced 2 of them, and the Padres, at least, we've split. We have not won a game against the Dodgers. I think we might win a game today. I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at it yet. But if we win today, we will only have won 1 against the Dodgers. But still, that helps us out quite a bit. We're going to be 1 game. It's ridiculous how good that West is right now. Just crazy how good they are. So, what's that means for the Cubs? Well, this week, like I said, they have 2 against LA. They got 2 more today and tomorrow against LA, which we are counting, 3 in San Diego, and then they come back home for on Friday for probably a day game against the Diamondbacks. Great day. Friday's looking like a great day to maybe we're going to be on the road, so maybe find a spot in the Quad Cities to watch it and have a great time. I'm looking forward to it. And then, Rich points out that how great it's going to be that we're done with the Dodgers and we can't get beat up by them. I mean, if we're playing well, we did all right against the Padres last week. We can do all right against them this week. If we split it, even if we only win 1 game, I'm happy with that against the Dodgers. I'm going to say, Richard says they're only going to win 2. I'm going to say that we're going to win 4. I think we can. The Cubs are a good team. We need to get used to seeing that again. It's been a while. There was some rebuild that had to happen. Some stuff that just didn't work. Our guys got aged. We traded them, and we had to develop the guys that we got for them. We didn't get top-tier people. We got prospects, and our prospect list looks great. Still does. We're still building a team that I think will be amazing as we go forward. So hopefully that means that in the next couple of years, this year to me feels like a 2015 type year. I don't know that I will ever say that it feels like a 2016 year until we're in the World Series. Because what feels like that until it's happening? Like, we knew we were destined to do great that year. And I don't want to say destined. We were doing well to do great that year. and yet you still knew that the other shoe could drop. So I'm hoping that we can get today against LA, and then maybe tomorrow's we pick that game up. We finally get to, I mean, we'll still be sub 500 against LA, but still do better against LA. Continue to work. See what if we can get 2 out of the Dodgers, great. If we get 1 out of the Dodgers, and then 1 out of the Diamondbacks, I think out of that we can do 4. I think it can happen. Look for the Cubs to be a buying team come the trade deadline. I know it's early to say. There's holes. Every team has holes. I think even the Dodgers, who are great, there's some questions on some things. This is when you find them. Right early in the season is when you find your holes. Why? Because nobody's playing at their best, and so their weak points come out. When their weak points come out, you're going to see guys do things that they shouldn't. And that's when you start to figure out, okay, move this here, kind of work that out. What are we doing for a closer? What are we doing for the middle guy? What about these guys, these relievers that we thought were going to be great that really haven't panned out? All of that is happening now. And so as we work through that, as they make a thing out of it, it really does become now is when we do that, and then eventually we will see. That's when you see the teams start to play. May, June, July. The summer drag. Now, so we're finishing up April here in the next couple of weeks. That's when baseball is fresh. It's new. Everybody's hyped. You either do really good on adrenaline, or your holes get found, and then you start to patch them through May, and then in June, July, August. Those are the months that baseball really happens. I don't get me wrong, baseball happens in all the other months that baseball happens. I get that, but the summer drag of baseball, when it's 106 degrees outside and you're dying in Wrigley because it's 85% humidity and it feels like 120 and you want to die, and Harry Carey's out in the field drunk off his you-know-what, and those dog days of summer that show you what it means to be a man in baseball. Those are when teams come together. Those are when we see great what a team is made of. That's also when we see these when we're going to see when the trade deadline happens. It's also when all of the other things that go about happen. So watch out for that. And that's when you figure out what's going on. And when we don't have to play the Dodgers and the Padres, the Diamondbacks, that'll be nice. That'll be real nice. We'll have the Giants that we're gonna have to deal with here soon. That's gonna be that's gonna be tough. But I think we got what we can for them, and maybe they're playing an easy April. I haven't looked at their schedule closely, but that's what we got. Okay. Let's go over to the NCAA tournament. Let me pull up the Yahoo Fantasy thing, give you how people did, give you final scores on what everything did, if I can, because Yahoo, sometimes Yahoo is great, sometimes Yahoo is terrible. Yahoo, on your fantasy side, you do great things for us. The problem is, sometimes you make it hard to get to your bracket stuff the day after. At least on the phone, it becomes immensely harder. So I ended up getting 110 points in everything. So I feel that's a great job. The only round that I got outscored was the second round. Rich got 22 points. I got 20. But mine that went through lasted longer. Obviously, I got a team into the championships. That helps. Rich did too, but I got all but one of my final four in, which helps. Those are the things that make a big deal there. So with that, I won 110. Rich had 93. Ian had 60. Danielle had 46. Thanks for everybody for participating. We love when people join us and want to be a part of that. This bracket challenge, one of the easiest ones. If you're going to make a bracket on Yahoo anyway with any of your friends elsewhere, might as well throw it into ours. It doesn't cost you anything. We don't do anything for that. Maybe you'll get, I'll print you out something like this. Work in progress. Look for these. We might sell these for esports stuff. Fundraiser. Back is that. I'm going to try to get the front that and then the back to be that. I actually want to get it where it's kind of a mix of both. Great item I'm working on. But you might get a trophy, and if you're close with us, then we'll be able to get it to you. If not, we'll figure out how to get it to you. But yeah. So Houston fell to Florida as Florida the Gators win their third national championship. Also, the Florida Gators are the first team in history to win 3 national championships in basketball, football, and baseball, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, 3 Division I titles in both basketball and football. Sorry, that's what it is. It's just basketball and football. So yeah, they're the first team to do that. They won in 2006, 2007, and 2025. Also 1996, 2006, and 2008. 2006, both the Gators are the only team to have the national championship title in both basketball and football in 06-07 years. That's crazy. That is, wow. That's, yeah, what do you do with that? That's, go Florida, I guess. I don't know. Gainesville's a great place, but used to fly in there all the time. I miss it. Great weather there. With that, next week, NBA postseason and NHL postseason start. So let me give you a couple of stories out of there to look at. Luka Doncic playing great in LA. If LeBron wins another championship, by the way, I don't think that makes him the greatest of all time. I'm gonna go there. I don't even care. Like, people are gonna say, well, Scottie Pippen and Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr and he had all-stars and superstars on his team. And yeah, Michael Jordan did. Most of them were homegrown. Yeah, they brought in Dennis Rodman, who was the greatest defensive player ever to play the game. Has some of the craziest stat lines, like most rebounds with no scores and all that. The man was a lunatic in every way of every form of the word. Made him one of the greatest of all times. Yes, I understand he had all of that. Don't get me wrong. By the way, while Dennis Rodman was playing, Michael Jordan still earned Defensive Player of the Year. Not while they were on the same team, but Michael Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year in the same years that Dennis Rodman did. Let that sink in. The greatest defensive player in the world ever that we've ever seen. By the way, we'll never see another one like it. Why? Because nobody plays defense anymore. If you got a guy that would go in and play defense, you could shut down an entire team. The problem is that the rules have changed and the way they call penalties and fouls have changed so much that now you'll foul out if you play basketball like Dennis Rodman did. You'd foul out if you treated Michael Jordan with the Jordan rules. I'm not here to get clicks. Nobody knows that I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it because this is what you got to look at when you look at the NBA. When you want to have the conversation of the greatest of all time, yeah, the rules are completely different. By the way, if Michael Jordan wanted to shoot threes all day, he would have scored 10,000 more points than LeBron James has yet. If defense was as anemic as it was today, as it is today, Michael Jordan would have scored 10,000 more points than LeBron James did. You put Michael Jordan at his peak in this era, ain't nobody gonna touch him. You put LeBron James back in Michael's era. By the way, he would play well. The man is built like a lineman. He's playing like the man is built. The man is a specimen of human creation. Amazing. That's not the problem. The problem is the flops. The problem is that the lack of defense in the NBA right now is so lacking that if you put LeBron in Michael Jordan's era, LeBron would fizzle out in a year. This era is so. People are gonna be like, "Oh, you're an old man talking about how this era is so weak." Come on now. Look at the lack of defense. We got teams scoring 150 points a night, and nobody bats an eye. Why? Because nobody's playing defense. I do this. This is the problem. When I'm on my own, I'm gonna sit here and rant about how terrible basketball is because lack of defense. Now, what I will say, shooting has changed the game inevitably. Kobe Bryant shooting threes led to Steph Curry. Steph Curry shooting threes led to the league changing the way they play the game. So, what do you do with that? Well, Jerry West, rest his soul, changed the game when he started doing what he did. Michael changed the game. LeBron hasn't been the best in his era, let alone the best of all time. Name me a decade, and there was a player that was considered greater in that decade than LeBron was in any of the decades that LeBron James has played. LeBron James has records because of longevity. That's it. Wasn't supposed to talk about it in the NBA this week, but I'm going to. Speaking of sports I wasn't supposed to talk to, and I totally screwed up because the title of this week was supposed to be not Gator Crunch. Even though Gators did what they did great. They deserve the recognition. There's a new all-time goal scorer in the NHL. Give it up for the great eight himself, Alex Ovechkin. Got to watch the game. Got to watch what happened and how that happened. 5 goals in 5 days. That man was on a tear. Right now, okay. Has he not scored another since? Yeah, he has not scored another goal since. Is he like? I mean, he's got. What's he got left? play the Blue Jackets tomorrow, the Islanders on Tuesday. I think they only have 4 games left. 3 games left in the season. Wow. Only have 3 games left in the season. I was hoping to see Alex get to 900. I think that would be amazing. I do like that it is great. It is GR89. So I posted when I watched it, GR895. I think that's a great moniker. That's what I was going to name the title of the show. I was going to look at his count. Totally messed that up. I apologize for that. But man, Alex Ovechkin, watching Wayne Gretzky come down to the ice and tell him how great he did. His wife, hockey is a game of traditions. When Wayne broke the record, his wife got a gift. When Alex breaks the record, Alex's wife gets a gift from Wayne's wife. Great seeing it. It was like 10 minutes. Brought his family down, brought his wife down, like his wife, his kids, his mom, all came down. His father-in-law had a great time. Man, love to see it. If I remember correctly, it was 31 years from the time the record was set originally to the time that when Wayne broke the record. It was 31 years. It then was 31 years. It's been 31 years since Alex Ovechkin broke the record. Man, yeah. 31 years since we've seen the Great One play. How crazy is that? And then we have the Great 8. So, yeah. Let me see. Love seeing that. With that, let's go ahead. I'm going to give you a spoiler now. I'm going to talk esports first, but I'm going to talk about the Masked Singer. I'm going to go over what happened this week, my thoughts on it. We will likely revisit it next week. We'll cover 3 weeks worth of it with Rich's input on both what happened last week, what happened this week, and then what happens this upcoming week. As Rich didn't get to watch last week's episode before we went on the air. Didn't get to watch this week's episode, or he's not here to share his thoughts on this week's episode. So next week we'll have to share 3 weeks worth of stuff. And next week we start the Sweet Six, or the whatever six they're calling it. I don't remember what they're calling it. Give me just a second. I'll get there. Now, Aaron. So, okay. The Lucky Six starts this week. Let's go here, and I'm gonna give you Yorkie, Nessie, and Mad Scientist went into this. Yorkie. So this is what I told my wife. The first week of Group C, I thought Yorkie was the worst. 100%. Thought Yorkie was terrible. I think the Cherry Blossom did better, but Yorkie was the worst. Stud Muffin was good, better, but not great. I think it went Yorkie, Stud Muffin, or Yorkie, Cherry Blossom, Stud Muffin. Cherry Blossom and Stud Muffin were right on par with each other. But, yeah. Cherry Blossom went home. Last week, and I think I said it last week, but if I didn't, I'm gonna explain it here. Stud Muffin did worse than Yorkie. I think Stud Muffin was the correct one to go home. This week, Yorkie wasn't bad. I will say that. That's what I'll say. Yorkie wasn't bad. But what Yorkie was not as good as Nessie or Mad Scientist. Those two are great. Yorkie went home. Obviously, I've said that now. Like, it's fine. We did the spoiler thing. I was supposed to talk I was supposed to tell you that that I was supposed to talk esports before I did this, but I screwed up. So now I'm into it. Whatever, don't care. Yorkie goes home. Nessie and Mad Scientist are great. Nessie was in the bottom 2. I would have put Mad Scientist in the bottom 2, but that's my lack of appreciation of country music and the country twang off this guy. Everybody thinks I still think he's a pitcher, but I don't know, I could be wrong. I still think it's Tim Lincecum. I truly do believe that. I don't remember who I think Nessie is, but Yorkie went home. Yorkie was Erica Jane from Real Housewives of whatever. I think Beverly Hills. Yeah, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Whatever, sure. I don't care. Somehow she has a musical career. Dance and pop. So is she like EDM? I don't know. Her singing was not good. She was not great. She was not bad the last couple days, but she was not great. I would not. So yeah, U.S. Dance Club and U.S. Dance / Electric and Global Dance is, so I'm guessing it's like EDM, and maybe she's like, I don't know. She's got to use like a lot of auto-tune or something. I don't think she was great. I found it annoying that she stuck around as long as she did. So yeah. With that, who are we going to see in the Lucky 6? So, who are you going to see in the Lucky 6? We're going to see Lucky 6 will be Paparazzo, Pearl, Coral, Boogie Woogie, Mad Scientist, and Nessie. Yeah. I honestly, of the group left, my least favorite is Mad Scientist. But again, it doesn't have to do with the quality of his voice. It has everything to do with what he sings and how he sings it. Everything has that country twang. That's why I think a lot of people think he's a country singer. I think he's Tim Lincecum, and I think because here's the deal. Let me explain this. Country singers are country singers, and especially modern country singers don't always have that twang. So unless they're putting on the twang, that's not what they sound like. By the way, most country singers who are good country singers don't have to sound like country singers. It's just what they're singing. So for me, if Mad Scientist was truly a country singer, he'd never have to, he wouldn't have to sound, well, boy. Modern country doesn't have the full twang to it all the time. And modern and country in general, they're just good singers. I don't think that a guy like that is going to necessarily be doing that country twang every time. That's why I argue it's a athlete, a Tim Lincecum. I will say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's Tim Lincecum, and he will be that's who we're gonna see. I think I've had guesses on Paparazzo, but I don't remember who I thought any of the other ones were. But I'm going to stick with Tim Lincecum. I think that's the guy who wins or who goes home next week, I hope. If all you can do is one sound, I don't think you're that great of a singer. Now, that being said, Who's the lucky duck? I think, and this, I 100%, this is what my thought is. I think lucky duck is going to be, and I think they're doing a hard mask on it. I think the lucky duck is going to be Scherzinger, Nicole Scherzinger. I think. I could be totally wrong. I mean, honestly, that doesn't make a ton of sense, but it could be a way to bring her back, do something fun like that. So that's kind of where we're at with that. If you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening in podcast land, do me a favor. Go to our YouTube. Really easy to find. YouTube.com/balls and six @balls and six. Check us out there. In this week's post, go ahead and jump on there and give us your guess for who you think, if you're following Masked Singer, give us a guess who you think anybody is. Or if you think I'm crazy for saying what I said about country singers and Tin Limits to Come and all the theory in my head. Hopefully, Rich, when you watch this, write down your notes on it. You're going to know. And when you do that, yeah. Sorry that I totally screwed up the Masked Singer spoiler alert. I went into it and I started doing it, and my intent was to give you the spoiler alert and then jump over to esports and then come back to this. But then I just went right into it and explained it. I did give you a spoiler alert. I gave you a little bit of time. Didn't tell you what to do, but sorry. We're back. Yeah, whatever. Okay. This week with esports. We didn't play Tuesday because we had a guy sick. So what happened was Jazz took 2 of our players out, and 1 of our guys was sick. We only have 6 players. We would have only had 3 able to play. Wasn't going to happen. So we postponed it to Thursday. We played Thursday night. We handily won. Then we played a JV match where I jumped in. When we do JV matches, I tend to jump in, and I tell the other coach, hey, we only have 2 JV players. So one of my varsity players plays, one of my JV players plays, and then I play. And I actually did pretty decent against them, which means that they are not necessarily great all the time. So, yeah. With that being said, we had fun, and then it's looking more and more likely that for my birthday I'm going to state, which is great. I'm excited to do that. Let's do it. Okay, with that, shout-outs this week. Rich, I don't know your wife's aunt's name, otherwise I'd shout it out. So shout out to Rich's aunt, or wife's aunt, for making it to 100 years. That's huge. Like, wow. The things she's seen. Not quite 2 World Series playoffs, but she saw 1. She got to see the Cubs win the World Series. How great is that? She got to see Boston win the World Series. How great is that? She got to see the Bears, or all these things. 100 years is huge. And from 100 years to 4 years, shout out to my daughter for her. She turns 4 on Monday. Great job, baby girl. Love you. And you're probably never going to see this. Or if one day when your dad is gone and you remember, you can see what your dad was like at this era when you were a kid watching this in 30 to 40 years, 50 years, 60 years when I'm dead. I don't know, whenever that's going to be. And you're seeing this, and baby girl, I love you. I'm proud of you. These podcasts are going to be on there so you can sit down and remember me and listen to my stupid rants about baseball and my stupid rants about how LeBron James wasn't the greatest. And I'm sure you're going to have, by the time you're a kid, you are 40 years old, there's going to be a guy that you're going to look at and you're going to say, he's the greatest of all time. And your old man, hopefully, if I'm still alive in 36 years, I'll be able to say, no, Michael Jordan went blah, blah, blah. But, yeah. Man, legacy. How about that? To think about that in 30 years, 50 years, 60 years, our kids are going to be able to sit down and watch. This is what Dad was like at this specific time. It's kind of a blessing. It's also hopefully helps with that stuff. I don't know why I just went there. That was really weird. But with that, we leave legacies. You leave a legacy. Sports is about legacy. So I'm going to take the last couple minutes to tell you, make your legacy something that matters. As I've gone on this trail following Rich's aunt who's seen 100 years, and I don't know her status with Christ, but I know that that if I live to be 100, I hope people know that, yeah, I love sports, but the main thing was that I love Jesus. In 30 in 40 years, in 50 years, whenever I'm gone and my kids are watching these videos, I hope that the biggest thing they know is that I love Jesus. I hope that leads them to love Jesus. Because the legacy I leave doesn't matter about the sports that I talk about or the points that I make or the minds that I change when it comes to who's the greatest of all time or what this or that means in sports. It's what I do for my kids. Tomorrow we celebrate the triumphal entry of Jesus into the city of Jerusalem on Passover week, knowing that he is the Passover lamb who takes away the sin of the world. Happy are we who are called to his table. We think about the next Friday, we will sit around and we will think about the beatings and the bruising and the terrible things done to his body. And Thursday we will participate in his holy Eucharist. Friday we will watch and discuss how his body was beaten beyond recognition. You couldn't tell that it was a human life. You could see his heart beating from the beating that he got. But that is nothing near what the torture was when he was separated from the Father and Son, and Father turned his back. The condemnation that is mine to live out, Christ took upon him. And we're going to celebrate that this week. And everybody tells you, but Sunday's coming. Sunday's great. I got a sermon that I want to preach about it. And I'm not going to do it here, but I'm going to tell you that Sunday is great. But Monday, the church begins. And the church started in persecution and terribleness. And I think we're going into a time of that again. But people died for the truth, so that we're here today, so I can discuss with you today what that means. So if you don't know, open your ears, go to church, celebrate the Eucharist, break bread together, spend time with loved ones, and truly remember what this season's about, what this life is about. Okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and roll that outro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.